walkathon was recently held honoring a very special boy who passed away 5 years ago. Jamie has more.
One of the taboos of our society, which needs more awareness, is the issue of mental health and well-being. Arguably an invisible illness, mental health affects us all in our day-to-day lives. John Hanan took his own life 5 years ago in a bout with bipolar disorder, and his mother has decided to hold a fundraiser in his honor with a message that no one should feel ashamed to seek professional help and to eradicate the social stigma which prevents the general acceptance of people who differ from the status quo.
I'm here with Margaret, who is the inspiration for the walk-a-thon in honor of her son John, who passed away 5 years ago. Mary, could you tell us about the inspiration behind this walk?
Well, since John passed away, I've always wanted to do something in his memory. And since a good part of the reason why he didn't get help or didn't go for treatment was because he felt the stigma of mental illness. He did not let his co-workers or his friends know because he was afraid that doing so he would lose both his friends and his writing position. He confided in me a great deal and in his girlfriend. I tried to get him help, but she didn't believe that he needed anything, that love would make it better. And I hadn't been well enough for the last 4 years. I'm still not well. I'm still under the care of a psychiatrist. But I felt this was his 5th anniversary, and I knew I had to do it, and do it soon. And I'm trying to eradicate a little bit of the stigma of mental illness, so that if at least one person today hears the discussions, the talks, comes out to walk, and is maybe deterred in doing what John did, then my son's death won't be in vain.
Today we're having a walk in memory of John Hanan, who committed suicide 5 years ago. His mother actually approached the Canadian Mental Health Association, and this is our 50th anniversary of services in the region of Peel. So this was a wonderful way to work with Margaret Hanan, remember her son, and promote awareness for suicide.
And what are some of the things people should know about mental health, the stigma, and how you guys are working to reduce that image in society?
I think the most important thing for people to know is they need to think about it just like a physical illness. And there's nothing wrong with looking for help or not feeling well. Feeling depressed should be treated just the same way as having the flu or having a cold. The problem is people feel the stigma, they won't come forward, they won't look for help, and then they run into more problems with their mental health. And it's because of the stigma. So the more awareness we can bring, the more people feel comfortable about saying to a friend or even a family doctor, I'm experiencing problems with my mental health, the more success we'll have in treating mental health and mental health issues. Because as the illness progresses, it becomes more difficult to treat. So early intervention, health promotion, and awareness are some of the critical factors when you're addressing a mental illness. I guess a mental illness happens over a period of time. So a bad day, you get better from it. If you experience problems over a longer period of time, especially having problems with sleeping, feeling low and blue over an extended period of time, or the opposite in bipolar disorder, where someone may be very, very high and doing things that may be unusual for them, starting up businesses and doing things that may not seem real to the family. But the stigma of society prevents people from coming forward with approaching someone who's exhibiting those symptoms, or even asking them, are you feeling depressed? I think part of the problem is that people believe that if you ask someone if they're thinking about suicide, that will make them think about suicide. It's not true at all. It actually makes them feel more relieved and that someone is sharing their burden and that it's okay to talk about it. We have programs in the schools now helping young people address how they feel when they feel depressed, so that they know it's okay to talk about it and it's okay to go to someone for help.
I'm a friend of Mary Margaret's. I've been helping her organize the walk. I also lost my daughter to suicide December 15th, 1999, and I facilitate groups for bereaved families, and that's where I met Mary Margaret. She came through one of the groups that I chaired. Mary Margaret and I have been friends for about 2 years now. And so this walk I know is really important to her to bring awareness about the stigma around suicide, people that suffer from mental health disease, and to raise money, of course. It's always to raise money, raise awareness. You can see she has a great turnout today. This is wonderful. I'm so happy for her. It's just amazing, just amazing.
In Mississauga, Jamie Reynolds, Access Peel.
Folks, we're